Help her? Closer?
Same. Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter where we use lights, it's the same thing.
She went to night school, she can see in the dark. Well, go ahead and hit me then.
And because I do on such a smooth surface, this is an example where I might do some re-inking. Just it'll tone down the scratches and it'll enable me to do actually some more cross-hatching to even out the tone. So I'm going to use my fancy method here of some re-inking.
That's what you get.
DNA.
You get some spit.
Yeah, free spit.
Free spit.
Somebody did ask me about the toxicity of the ink. I'm like, oh, I'm still alive. They said, what about 40 years down the road? I'm like, I'll let you know.
It's bitter tasting. It's cookie.
You drink some.
I did check the MSDS on
I'll
it,
try
Kathy, from Ampersand, and you're okay.
It's not toxic.
Oh, good, because I've been licking my boards lately. So.
Is that how you get your neat textures?
I will get a restraining order on you away from my board.
Aren't you glad you fed him lunch when you did?
You looking before or after you spray them?
I know, it's after.
Or both?
During.
I like them raw before spray.
That's how he gets down to the white layer.
I bet you were the kid that ate all the glue in the kindergarten, right?
No.
That's
Paste,
amazing.
yeah, the paste.
The glue is what you put on. Yeah, I actually didn't used to do that.
Skin.
You put it on the
Oh,
and you
yeah.
peel it off.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
You probably
I need
should
a
do
tool,
that.
Can I borrow your spoon?
If it gets
There we
it spills
go.
on me, yes.
I didn't bring everything I needed.
What do you need?
Diane's gonna So just as important as the middle of the eye is the areas that are around the eye and the highlight on the eye, which is in photography world called a catchlight, which is essentially the highlight that is on the eye. Sometimes in photographs there is not a highlight on the eye, and I intend, if you can see the eye clearly and it's not like heavily in shadows, I will add the catchlight in whether it's in my photograph or not, because it helps. Visually, it helps our eye tell us that it's liquid, that an eye is liquid.
Another thing you have to point out to some people is that wherever the catchlight is,
It has to be your
the iris is light opposite that, not on the same side as the catchlight.
And the catchlight should be in the same or essentially you have to think about what your light source is in regards to the catchlight also, and not and put it in a believable location.
What did you say?
It's like if all the shadow is on the right side of the animal,
Uh-huh.
you don't want to put the catchlight on the right side of the animal.
This, and then it reflects through to the other side.
Mhm. And you'd be surprised how many people don't know that. You point it out and they'll look and start looking into other people's eyes, and it's just like, hey, yeah. Half of art is looking.
I still don't get it. Is this right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the light, it's the lightest part of the eye is going to be opposite of that.
Oh, okay.
It's like the light shedding in through here,
And then spraying out.
and then just basically spraying out through the eye, the other side reflecting it.
Admittedly, I actually went and brightened that up, but to make it look like there was more light hitting his eye.
My hardest part, believe it or not, is keeping the pupils the same size.
Mm-hmm.
They always end up being smaller than what I originally intend because I have to keep adjusting them to make them both the same size.
So do you always start them out larger than you intend?
No, but you know, I just thought of that. It's been all these years. I should have just started larger.
And not only is it going to be the catchlight that adds dimension to the eye, but oftentimes the eyelid underneath will also hold some moisture in, so you'll get these little highlights underneath. And again, oftentimes I'll put them in even if my photo reference doesn't show them. However, you don't want to get too carried away. You don't want them to look like someone's, unless you're trying to go for the teared up look, you don't want them to look like they have liquid pooled completely underneath their eye, because that can look not only fake, but a little disturbing. But but I think about the anatomy of how the eyelid works and the skin. So a lot of times you'll also have this darker area underneath the eyelid because our eyelid forms typically a fold. And so that's the shadow that's cast by that. And then up above will typically be a little bit of a shadow as it recedes back in towards the eye. And that's where the liquid will pool, is right above the eyelid, but sometimes not directly on the eyelid, but actually a smidgen above there will be a dark area.
I wish you would put that tool down when you're talking about.
Because you fear for your life or mine?
No, your eye. You're pointing to your eye with the scalpel.
She's got glasses on, hers are protected.
Yeah.
So,
And I've been told I make funny faces while I'm working, so.
Most artists do. I used to observe when I was taking classes at the JC, painting classes. I would observe, and they're all sitting there doing this. I never made faces, but I talked to my work all the time. Oh, you stupid thing. And that's what I'm talking
I just make sounds. Like,
You kind of work opposite from what I do. You kind of work your dark and then build up your light.
Mm-hmm.
I always start by making my light and then fading into the dark. I think it's 6 of 1, half a dozen of another.
Yeah.
The only
I do that much control.
I know, but I've seen their work. Boy, do they have control.
And sometimes I'll work close edges last just so I know where my overlap needs to be or doesn't need to be. So I might fill in the rest before I really get into the areas that are going to be close to one another. And I don't necessarily have to follow, say, a reflection exactly. For example, if you have an animal in a cage, a lot of times you'll get the reflection of the bars. And that's not something that you typically want to include necessarily in your artwork unless you're specifically trying to say this is a zoo animal. You can do reflection that you can look at another photo that maybe doesn't have bars in it to see the reflection. Or you can just kind of create it on your own. Just bearing in mind those things we said about light source and highlights and that kind of thing. So the eyebrow above the eye also helps to define it, and a lot of times on haired animals, the eyebrows or eyelashes will actually overlap the eye. And I didn't really draw that area particularly well in my outline, but and I don't care if the hair is, oh, that these 3 hairs are exactly the same as my photo, it's more the gist of it.